I'm here in north central Mississippi walking down the KUDZU Road, a road that even Google Map doesn't know about. So, why am I here? Well, as a native Texan, I had never heard of KUDZU until I first saw it several years ago while driving the back roads of Arkansas into Tennessee. So, I want to share with you what I now know about this fascinating plant known as KUDZU. And I'll start with the amazing fact that KUDZU is an invasive weed that grows up to 12 inches per day and is thereby known as the vine that ate the South. KUDZU now covers almost 8 million acres across the southeastern United States. The KUDZU you are seeing here is one of 15 species generally categorized as KUDZU. The KUDZU plant resembles poison ivy, so it's real important for you and me to know how to identify both of them correctly. Here in the US of A, KUDZU got its name from a mistake. It's a misspelling of the Japanese word for the plant KUDZU. KUDZU came to the US of A when it was first shown at the Japanese Pavilion Horticultural Exhibit at the 1876 Philadelphia Centennial Exposition, where they displayed an ornamental vine called Japanese arrowroot. Visitors took to the pretty little plant with its sweet-smelling purple flowers, unaware they had just met the equivalent of Audrey II from the classic movie Little Shop of Horrors. But it was in 1883 at an exposition in New Orleans that KUDZU was first introduced to the South. By 1900, KUDZU seeds were commonly sold as an ornamental vine to shade porches and courtyards of southern homes. In the 1930s, farmers were paid up to $8 an acre to plant KUDZU in hopes to curb erosion and add nitrogen to the soil. In today's dollars, that would be about $140 an acre. In the 1930s through the early 1940s, the U.S. Soil Erosion Service urged southern farmers to use the vine as a way to control erosion. The agency distributed more than 85 million seedlings to landowners. Big mistake as we look back on that. KUDZU clubs were popular in the 1940s. At its height, the KUDZU Club of America, founded in 1943, had 20,000 members. In his 1949 book, Front Porch Farmer, Channing Cope presents KUDZU as the panacea that will allow farmers to adapt a life of leisure and relaxation as this new crop works while you sleep. Oops! Also, during the 1930s and 40s, the government promoted KUDZU with festivals where kings and queens were crowned. Well, out where I'm filming, there's a local legend has it that one of the queens haunts this Queen KUDZU Road to this very day. Yeah, and more on that later, as well as to why I'm dressed like this on the hottest day of the year. In 1997, Congress voted to add KUDZU to the federal list of noxious weeds, which is any plant designated by a federal, state, or county government as injurious to public health, agriculture, recreation, wildlife, or property. Yep, KUDZU got busted big time. KUDZU greatly disrupts native ecosystems, threatens natural resources, and inhibits the use of forest land, particularly here in Mississippi, where KUDZU is widespread. It's like a zombie weed that overtakes the living. As you can see, land infested with KUDZU has little to no value. It outcompetes everything from native grasses to fully mature trees by shading them from the sunlight they need to photosynthesize. This loss of native plants harms other plants, insects, and animals that once lived here, thereby leading to bad effects throughout an ecosystem. Over time, these effects of habitat loss can lead to species extinctions and a loss of overall biodiversity. Now, smaller patches of kudzu can be controlled with persistent weeding and continuous mowing and grazing. And cattle and goats will eat kudzu. In fact, they really seem to love it. For larger areas of kudzu, the vines need to be cut near the ground and then carefully treated with a variety of organic herbicides. That's best used in the late summer, making it more effective to kill off the kudzu. Now, once landowners remove kudzu, they can use their land productively. They can establish gardens, forestry, wildlife habitats, and recreational parks. So, the big question is kudzu useful? Well, yes it is. It's also called, as I said earlier, Japanese arrowroot, and is native to China, Japan, and Korea. And these cultures have used it widely for centuries. And more recently, kudzu root has made its way to Western countries as an herbal supplement. Yeah, it may be a super nuisance, but kudzu definitely has its uses. The sweet-smelling purple blossoms when they bloom from July through September are used to make jellies and jams. The kudzu plant leaves, the vine tips, and the sweet-smelling purple flower blossoms are also edible. By the way, lots of folks tell me that the blossoms smells like Kool-Aid. The bright floral scent also reminds a lot of people of grapes, and the plant's oils are used to make soaps and candles to take advantage of kudzu's innate perfume. Although the broad, dark leaves of kudzu often cause people to mistake it for native grapevines like muscadine, kudzu is actually in the pea family. You might even spot some purplish-hued honey at local farm stands here in Mississippi and elsewhere in the South where the plant grows rampant. And bee experts suggest that pollen from kudzu flowers gives the honey its distinct color. And some people can detect a little bit of that grape character in the honey. The sturdy vines are used to make baskets and artworks. The tough, fibrous vines are excellent for weaving, and basket makers have employed kudzu vines for centuries to create their wares. The fibers can also be broken down into cellulose-like wood to make paper or even clothing, although not as efficiently as other alternatives. Scientists have been investigating where the plant's cellulose can be employed in ethanol fuel production. Today, the most popular ways to use the kudzu root are as an herbal supplement or as a root tea. You can also consume kudzu root as a food. People often eat different parts of the plant raw, sautéed, deep-fried, baked, or jellied. In its raw form, kudzu root resembles other root tubers such as potatoes or yams. And it has a tan skin, a white flesh, and an oblong shape. You can cook and eat kudzu roots as you would any other tuber vegetables such as potatoes and rutabagas. Now, people more commonly eat it in a dried and powdered form, which you can use as a thickening agent, an herbal supplement, or a tea. Kudzu roots can be dried and ground into a powder, which some people use as breading for fried foods or as a thickener for soups and sauces. Kudzu root reportedly may have some health benefits such as reducing inflammation, promoting heart health, alleviating severe headaches. It may also help alleviate menopausal symptoms, and it can be used to treat fevers, diarrhea, and even diabetes. In traditional Chinese medicine, it's most often used to help treat alcohol dependence. Suggested dosages for kudzu root may vary depending on the manufacturer and the type of supplement you may be considering. The kudzu root may interact with certain medications or pose other health risks for certain people. Therefore, it's always best to consult your healthcare provider, preferably a chiropractor or naturopath, before taking it. So, if this video piqued your interest in kudzu, you can find a lot of information on the internet about it. So there you have it, kudzu, the creeping vine that's eating the South. As you can see behind me, those signs basically say, kudzu kills, keep out, no trespassing, kudzu will eat you, etc. Well, okay, now listen carefully. I've talked to a lot of local north central Mississippians who all tell me about a legend that the kudzu queen's domain is somewhere out there. And they told me that she only appears between 11 a.m. and 4 p.m. when it's horribly hot and the humidity is at least 90%. And to wear clothing such as this, as it would be invisible to her so as not to scare her off.
Oh.
Well, I've been coming here for several days now, and I've yet to see her. But I tell you what, I've experienced a definite loss in water weight, and at times a bit dizzy, as well as possible hallucinations. Huh. You know what?
What?
A thought just struck me.
What?
I wonder if the locals might be pulling my leg. Jokesters?
Fabulous.
No, they wouldn't do that to a Texan.
Really?
What? What, Bubba? What? Where? What?
What?
Where?
What?
Come on.
Gimme, 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 gimme.